Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tower of God New World. In today's video, we're going to talk about Trauma Ray once again. I know you guys are getting sick and tired of the Trauma Ray videos. Hey, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a Trauma Ray meat writer, no homo, but I'm a Trauma Ray meat writer. But this unit is just so insanely cracked. It's like every single day, there's always something new about this unit. I'm always discovering something new about this character every day, and he never ceases to amuse me. He's always just exceeding my expectations. So, what is it today? What is the next mind-blowing thing about Trauma Ray? So, for bosses, you guys already know when it comes to bosses in Underground Laboratory, the number one character is Kaiser. Kaiser is like the number one unit for bosses because she just deals insane damage. She's the go-to character, and you always want to put, support characters that can pretty much amplify her damage, and you also want to put units who can pretty much shred the enemy's defense, physical or magic resistance or whatever. I think it's physical resistance because Kaiser is a physical damage type unit. So you always want to run like a support unit with Kaiser so that you can pretty much amplify her damage. But apparently against Daddy Urek Mazino, it's like you gotta use Trauma Ray, man. Like Trauma Ray is just insanely cracked against Daddy Urek, and the reason why is because of his passive. So when we take a look at Trauma Ray's passive, the broken part about Trauma Ray against Daddy Urek is Cobalt the Frog. The frog is insanely broken, and the reason why is because it says right here, Cobalt immediately tries to remove any attack increase buff or barrier an enemy receives, then detonates a shockwave on all enemies to deal 20% of their max HP as damage and 400% of attack if the target is a boss. So Daddy Urek, this guy applies shields to himself. If you look at his ultimate, it says Mazino's barrier is not removed for 10 seconds and the error signs explode and kill the targets instantly. So he pretty much applies a barrier after he does his special move, Unparalleled Speed. So the fact that Trauma Ray is able to remove Daddy Urek's shield is insanely good. But the cracked part about this is that the consistency of Cobalt removing Daddy Urek's shield is perfect because units like Kunran is amazing against Daddy Urek because Kunran, if you look at Kunran's ultimate, Kunran has like that shield break. It says that Kunran throws Espada de la Luz, my apologies, at the enemy, instantly destroying barriers and dealing 1200% of his attack as damage. So Kunran has insane shield break. So actually, guys, ignore my ignition weapon build. It's trash for him. But he has that shield break for his ultimate. So therefore, he's able to deal like crazy damage against Daddy Urek. But the same thing applies to Trauma Ray. But the difference is that Kunran, you have to rely on his ultimate so that he can constantly remove Daddy Urek's shield. Meanwhile, Trauma Ray, Cobalt is literally removing the shield every single time Daddy Urek activates it. So Trauma Ray just has better consistency when it comes to shield break, which is insanely stupid. But it's not even that he's able to remove the shield. He's also able to deal crazy damage alongside with the shield removal. Like it's insanely broken. So I did a couple replays, like I did a couple attempts here, and I can deal some more damage, but of course, when it comes to your Shinsu Link level, the higher it is, the more damage you can deal. And, my Kaiser is still at 3 purple stars. I feel like if I had her at more copies, I would deal more damage. But for this attempt right here, I used Reflajo to pretty much inflict that evasion decrease and also the physical resistance shred because I do have his Revolution tier 4. And for his tier 4, it says enemies hit by Full Moon Shadow have their physical resistance decreased by 30% for 10 seconds. That is really, really good for Kaiser. So for this team right here, you guys can see that Kaiser dealt like 2 billion damage and Trauma Ray dealt like 44 billion damage, which is crazy. And the reason why is because of the shield break. So I'm going to replay this for you guys. And, the fact that Kaiser dealt 2 billion damage, why am I still using her in this team? Well, the reason why I'm still using her in the team is because when you deal physical damage against Daddy Urek, he like the cooldown of his skill, I forgot which skill it was, but the cooldown of his skill, I think he gets the crease. I have to read it again, but it has something to do with like his skill cooldown. I have to read it again. But just look at this. You have the evasion decrease, you have the physical resistance decrease. He applies that shield. Cobalt immediately removes that shield. Broken, like just absolutely broken. And it's just crazy. Like the consistency for Cobalt is just insanely cracked. Like the fact that he's able to consistently remove that shield every single time the enemy place, like every single time they inflict a shield upon themselves, is just insanely broken. Like it's just so good. So he applied that shield again. Cobalt removed it. And I also tried gusting because you guys know gusting paired with a trauma rate is really, really good because of the summon boss that dies and it pretty much builds the stacks for a Kraken. But the bots are extremely tanky against Data Urek. So gusting just doesn't work against Data Urek and his team. So yeah, this is pretty much like I wouldn't say my top team because Hats is also pretty good. You can use Novik to increase the basic attack damage for Kaiser. You can also use Lero. You have so many options, but this team was really good. And I also tried Garam as well. Garam, if you have like Revolution tier 4, she's insanely busted because of that attack increase. So, you know, when it comes to support characters, you have so many options, but like I feel like the units that you have to use against Daddy Urek, Trauma Ray, Kaiser, alongside with Kunran when it comes to breaking that shield. So guys can see right here, 44 billion damage coming from Trauma Ray. Now for this attempt right here, I'm pretty much going to use Kunran just to give you guys an example. So we're just gonna put we're gonna keep Hats. Actually, let's keep Hats in. Let's keep Hats in the team. And let's put in Kunran. So just in case you don't have Trauma Ray, Kunran is a nice addition. I have to put in Blanc, but Kunran is a really nice addition because of that shield break, and he's able to deal crazy damage with his ultimate. So I will say when it comes to Kunran, Kunran is a top tier unit against Daddy Urek. When it comes to other bosses, not really, but Daddy Urek, Kunran is really, really good. So right here, I'm hoping that we can at least reach 3 billion damage. I don't think that's going to be possible, but you know, let's see what happens. We did get that attack buff from Hwarun, which is really good. Got that attack buff right there because we got her a Revolution tier, I think tier 5. So you guys can see Kunran has that shield break, and we got 2.3 billion damage so far. Really, really nice. So Kunran is really, really good if you don't have Trauma Ray. You have so many options. You got Kaiser, Kunran, but I do feel like a Trauma Ray is 10 times better than Kunran due to the fact that Trauma Ray is more consistent and he's able to immediately remove that shield without using, you know, his special move. Like all he has to do is just stand there, and as soon as Daddy Urek uses his shield, Cobalt immediately removes it. It's just insanely broken. But we're getting close to that 3 billion damage. You guys can see that the barrier is still up because Kunran didn't activate ult, but 15 seconds left. I think we can actually reach 3 billion. I don't know. We got the attack buff. Kunran is dead. Come on, 3 billion. No 3 billion. So you guys can clearly see, like, without Trauma Ray, there's not a lot of consistency. And you know, I do feel like if I put a Blanc, Kunran would have dealt a lot more damage. But you guys can see 7 billion damage coming from Kunran, and it's because of his shield break and his ultimate. So, you know, you pretty much have multiple options against Daddy Urek, but I will say Trauma Ray is definitely like, you know, top pick for Daddy Urek because of his consistency, and he's also able to deal really, really nice damage when he does his ult. Like when he does his ultimate, he can deal really good damage. So yeah, this is crazy. Like I was not expecting Trauma Ray to be this insanely busted to the point where even in bosses, you know, he's performing well. Against other bosses like Daddy Urek, Mazino, not Daddy Urek, but that is a hard. I don't think Trauma Ray performs well against Data Sahard. I don't think he performs well with Data Mashni alongside with Kuna Dawn and Gusting. But for Daddy Urek, Trauma Ray is definitely top tier unit for Daddy Urek because of that shield break. So, hopefully this can help you guys out. And if you're wondering, which unit you should use against Daddy Urek, Chamare just insanely busted. And you don't even have to have him maxed out in order for you to use him against Daddy Urek. You can have one copy on him. He's still going to be good because of Cobalt. Like, as long as Cobalt is there, removing that shield consistently, you're perfectly fine. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video with you guys. Just saying that, once again, this unit is literally just on a whole nother level, insanely broken. And it really makes me, excited to see how busted future family head characters are going to be. Like, I'm really excited to see, how busted they're going to be. And, since Chamare is like a support, but at the same time a DPS, I wonder if we're going to have like, a tank type of family head unit. But if they're tank type, are they also going to do insane damage? Who knows? Because Chamare pretty much proves that a support character is capable of dealing crazy damage. So that's pretty much it. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it. And I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.